Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So I think the market is changing a little bit. The numbers that are here this week sort of support the things that I'm seeing out in the market. So looking at sales last week, Georgetown had 14 sales, which is a good week for Georgetown. It's not super high, but it's definitely not low. So 14 is just like a good sales week. 25 new listings though. That is a lot of new listings in a week in Georgetown. And if we see a bunch of weeks where we have 20 plus new listings, that's really where it starts to pile on. We had a couple of weeks over the course of the last 8 weeks where we did see 20 plus listings, but it was never really consistent. So it's going to be interesting to see if this is the start of a trend of listings coming on the market, which would be odd. It kind of feels like our market has shifted like a whole month this year. Like everything's happening a month later than it normally does. But going into July, we normally start to see listings slow down. But if we keep seeing them hitting the market and picking up, that will be interesting. Another thing is this week, I've had a couple of clients competing on properties or wanting to offer on properties, and they're like one of. There's not a bidding war, and it just feels like things are a little less busy than they were like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So again, going to be interesting to see if that trend sort of continues. In Acton this week, we had 4 sales, good number for Acton, and 2 new listings. Glen Williams had 1 sale and 1 new listing. There was no sales in Limehouse, but there was 1 new listing. And the rural market had 1 sale and 2 new listings. So we're seeing listings hitting the market for sure. Some areas higher than others. I mean, the Georgetown 25 is definitely the notable number for the week. Acton's actually pretty low at 2. It certainly feels like we are in a market where things could change. But I said that 4 weeks ago, and then like it didn't really change, and inventory's been staying at bay. So the real conversation this week is the active inventory. So all of Halton Hills is up to 134 active listings from 126. That's a really big jump week over week when we've been seeing things stay at bay. I mean, it's not like the whole market is going to change based on these numbers, but if we saw 4 to 5 weeks of 8 new listings, we would be in a completely different place in terms of our active inventory. So we're going to be watching that number closely. Again, July is not normally the time that we see a flood of new inventory, but I think that that is going to be different this year. I do think we're going to be seeing strong amounts of new listings going into July. Looking at Georgetown is up from 69 to 79 active listings. That is the highest number we have seen in Georgetown since the first week of December. So again, it's not crazy high. It's still, far from the 130 to 140, but 79 active listings, we have not seen that in basically 7 months. So that might be another indicator that things are starting to shift a bit. Looking at active price points, under 800,000 remain the same this week at 8 active listings. 800 to $1 million remain the same this week at 14. 1 million to 1.5 is up from 13 to 18 active listings, so a big jump in that price point. And then 1.5 million plus is up from 34 to 39 active listings. So when we're looking at that price point, especially the 1.5 million plus, I actually don't think I've ever seen inventory at 39 in that price point. That is huge. And I mean, it just shows you that people are still trying to fetch very high prices for their house. A lot of those are still basic subdivision homes. Sure, they're like bigger 4-bedroom homes, but like they are not worth over $1.5 million, and a lot of people are still trying to fetch those prices. And so 39 active listings at 1.5 million plus is a lot. Like we were sitting usually between 20 and 30 when we were kind of in a high market last year. And so 39, let me just like reiterate that. Like July was our highest point last year, and we only had 28 active listings in that price point. So we are way high in 1.5 million plus. People really need to be adjusting their expectations in those higher price points. Other notable things is that the under million price point is not climbing. That area is still moving really well, and we just don't have enough listings. But even the 1 to 1.5 saw a climb this week, and the numbers are getting higher there. So it always happens when the market starts to shift, the higher price points start to feel it quicker. And so this is, again, supporting what I've been feeling and seeing when I've been out at showings and at listings. But it's something I'm going to be watching really closely, because this could be an indicator of a change in the market. Looking at Acton this week, Acton is down from 18 active listings to 15. So a drop in Acton. Still moving, still not super low inventory, but not high inventory there. Glen Williams remained the same at 9 active listings. Limehouse took a jump from 1 to 3 active listings, and the rural market is down slightly from 29 to 28 active listings. So I think this week's update is very interesting. Some weeks it's like, whatever, but this, and I think mainly because of the change I felt for some of the properties I've seen with buyers, just overall interest and, thinking it's going to go crazy price or multiple offers, and then it doesn't. There are just things that are happening that I felt this week that I thought, oh, maybe like buyers are starting to cool off a bit, or, inventory has started to satisfy the amount of buyers out there and things are starting to cool. The numbers that I'm seeing this week support that as well. But whether that continues, because we've seen this happen like 2 times in the last few months, and then the market just like still goes crazy. So I'm going to be watching this really closely, because it's really possible that this is the start of sort of a climb if we continue to see new inventory coming on. So interesting week. It's still a good time if you're a seller, I think. I still think there's more demand now than there's been in a very long time. But if inventory starts piling on, it's going to become less of a good time. I think, again, prices will probably be up in June. We did see a lot of higher stuff selling, but it will be really interesting to see if our normal summer market of very low listings kind of flips this year, and we continue with this trend of high new listings. So I'll be back next Tuesday. Have a great week, everyone.